All right, good afternoon. We're ready to start this week's Blender Challenge. Last week, we created an obstacle, a little dry stone wall that we're going to put into Unity to make into a little maze game that's going to be procedurally generated so we can put that obstacle wherever we want. This week, we need our main character, which is going to be a little sheep that can be controlled and escape. So we're going to try and make a low-poly sheep today. If I have time, I might even put a tail on the back. So this is what we're going to try and create. Let's save this as sheep. I did ask you for name suggestions, but I haven't found one I like yet. We'll keep deciding. Right, so help. I'll probably go too fast again. Remember, I'm recording this so that you can play it back at your own speed. I'll try and say the keyboard shortcuts, but they are on the screen as well. Right, all about top tips to get a bit faster today. Control and 2 adds a subdivision surface modifier. Right click and shade smooth. That's one thing that's going to make it easier for us to make our sheep. We also want to export it and put it into Unity, so I don't want the camera. So left click X, and then the same on the light, left click and X. I'm going to double click on here to rename the cube, because when we put it into Unity, I want it to have a sensible name like sheep, and that name is going to be reflected by that name in here. Right, we're almost there. No, we're not. It's just a blob. It's not there at all. But we're almost set up to get started, is what I mean. I want a modifier, so that's the spanner tab. And we'll add a modifier, a mirror modifier, so that we don't have to try and make things symmetrical ourselves. Blender will do the hard work for us. Right, let's go into edit mode. Press 3 so that we can select all the faces. And let's see which way round the mirror modifier is. So I'm extruding out in the x-axis, which is the same as what's ticked in the mirror modifier. Control Z, let's go back. Good. So, if I extrude out the sheep's body and S to scale it, then I'll do the same this side and S to scale it. That's going to be kind of the middle of our sheep. My goodness, it's a big, long, fat sheep. Press A, S, and Y. There we go. It's all about learning the keyboard shortcuts to make it work. Now, I want to pull out a leg down here. But if I do that, that's not a leg. That's a weird kind of, don't know what that is. Control Z. So Control R. This adds a loop cut. I'm going to put one exactly in the middle. So I'll press Escape. It's now in the middle. That's, oh, help. I didn't mean to extrude there. Back into face mode by pressing 3. Now I can select this part and press Extrude. And look, it's kind of the back leg. I've got a reference image here. I want to kind of go for something a little bit like that. I'm working on this bit. So, my anatomy of sheep isn't that good, so I don't really know what to call it other than back leg. I'm scaling it down a little bit, rotating it around the x-axis so that I can extrude it down and scale it, and then make it smaller, smaller again, and then pull out the toes. That looks too thin, so I'll shift and click GZ to grab it down. There we go. We've got some back legs. It's quite a chunky sheep, but it'll do. Right, let's look at some shortcuts that are useful for you. If you alt-click on something, you get a loop. Now, I've got a loop of faces at the moment, which is not what I want. I want to press 2 to get edges, and now if I... What was I even trying to do? Oh, yeah, alt and click here. I've now selected that loop around here, so I can scale it in and make it a bit thinner. Alt and click on that one, scale it in. Ugh, it looks a bit weird. There we go. All right, back into face mode by pressing 3. Let's do the front legs. E to extrude. Now, which are bigger on a sheep? It looks the same on this one. Maybe a little bit smaller here. R, X to rotate. E to pull down, make it smaller. Now, it looks like they go vertically down, but animal anatomy is weird. It looks like the legs go forwards a little bit. So, E to extrude. E to extrude. E to extrude again. This is terrible anatomy. Sheep are going to get offended by my representation. But hey, what can you do? Right. Oh, doesn't look great, but it'll do. So now how do we get the head? Well, I'm going to extrude this bit up. So Shift and left click to select. Maybe drag that down a little bit. And then extrude it up for a neck. Scale it. Extrude it up. Rotate it around the x-axis. Don't really know what I'm doing here. You can just have a play. Maybe rotate that back round the x-axis. Extrude up. That is the world's weirdest sheep neck. Extrude that forwards. Oh, it looks terrifying. Looks so much better when I practiced this. What can we do to salvage this? Let's pull the temples of the sheep up. Oh, it's getting a little bit better. Let's go for some ears. Extrude out. Oh, it's like some horns for a ram. Control Z. How am I doing for time? Oh, I've had my 5 minutes. I kind of need to stop. Yikes. G, X, G, Y. We're going to need to put some... It looks like a llama. It's terrible. I'm sure you can do a better job than this. We'll add in a cube. GZ. GY to move it forwards. GX to move it across. And because we've got that mirror modifier, we just need to get one eye in place. Now, I don't know how to make it smooth other than going back into object mode with tab. So at this point, even though it looks terrible, I'm going to put the materials on. I really want some ears, but I haven't got any time. Let's add a material. Let's call this one wool. Add another material slot and call it dark skin. The wool is going to be white. The dark skin is going to be darker. And then we just need to apply the textures to vertices. So useful keyboard shortcut alert. I really like this. Control and plus on your numpad selects linked vertices. So I started with the sheep's nose, Control and plus until I've got everything I need, and then I can select the material and assign it. Can't see it yet because I'm just in solid mode. There we go. Oh, we need pupils here. Next keyboard shortcut, which is really useful, is Control and L. It selects all of the linked vertices so that when you duplicate it, you've just got everything that you need. So why are we doing this challenge? I want you to get used to using things like S for scale, G for grab, R for rotate, and then pressing the keyboard shortcuts like X, Y, and Z to go up and down in 3D space. There we go. Let's assign this material. And we have the world's weirdest gormless looking sheep. I'm sure that you can do a better job than this. Let's just make the feet dark skinned. There we go. And these ones, Control and plus on the numpad. Can you do Control and minus? Oh, you can. Look at that. All right. So that is your challenge. Can you make a sheep that looks less gormless than mine? See what you can do.